It's Saturday morning. It's 9 o'clock. That could only mean one thing. It's the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woohoo! Yay, it's another Saturday show already. And last week's got an amazing over 500 views, which is absolutely fantastic. If you do like these shows, please do share them with friends, let other people know, and don't forget to like them and subscribe, because believe me, I do watch the little thumbs up and how many subscribers I've got. I'm probably checking every 30 seconds, and every time it goes up by one, I give myself a little woohoo. So please do subscribe. I think we've got a great show coming up. There hasn't been a lot of big new releases coming out this week, but there's some stuff from Penguin, and let's just get on with it. First up, we've got Try Sandwich by Morton Braessas. Yes, it's by Morton Braessas, but the actual tutorial and everything else is taught by Eric Tate of Penguin Magic. He's the one with the beard. This trick is dynamite. If you know Monkey in the Middle, it's like that on steroids. This is a triple prediction sandwich routine. So 3 participants each select a card. Those cards are then lost in the deck. The jokers are introduced. The jokers are put on top of the deck with a magical gesture, if you will. They are then spread to reveal that one card has appeared between them. And yes, that turns out to be one of the selections. Those 3 cards are then put down on the table. The jokers face up, the selection face down. Another magical moment is created, and the middle card is turned over to reveal that it's now changed into one of the other selections. And then you get one of the participants to cut the deck, put in one of the jokers, cut the deck again, put in the other one of the jokers, put the rest of the deck on top. A magical moment again. The cards are spread and the jokers have come together, sandwiching just one card. And yes, it's the final selection. This routine is just so well constructed that you get loads and loads of mileage out of a very, very simple gimmick. It's ingenious in many ways, and it's really nice to have so many people involved as well. The only real downside is that the cards can't be signed, but I don't think that really matters. And quite often, I'm sure many people have experienced people who are quite shy of signing cards. Lay people find that quite odd, and there's no real reason. There's no suspicion on the deck at all. And because the selections are so free, it wouldn't really make any sense to have the card signed particularly. It's not self-working. There are a few sleights you need to know. They are basically a pinky break, a double undercut, and is that it? I think that's it. Just those 2 easy sleights. The tutorial is 35 minutes long. Like I say, it's by Eric, who is a great card worker, but he is also a very good teacher, and he takes you through everything plus more. There's a lot of bonus content on this that Penguin are just sort of giving away for free. I guess when you've got someone as knowledgeable as Eric, he can quite happily throw in little tidbits. So yeah, so you learn the sleights, which are basically how to get a finger break and how to do the double undercut. Oh, you do need to know a force, and the force that Eric uses is I think it's called the rollover force. I'm not sure, I haven't looked it up. It's a very simple, more deceptive than you would believe force. It's slightly discrepant, but it does fly, and it means that you can force the top card without any hassle whatsoever, without having to sort of cut it in the deck and then riffle down to it. So it's very easy to get into straight from the setup, straight out of the box, and it is ideal for this routine. But later on in the tutorial, towards the end, Eric quite happily teaches you a couple of other ways of forcing the card, including the slip force and the timing force, which is the one that Morton Braessas uses apparently. And Eric says why he prefers to use the simple rollover force. Really, really useful content, and something you can take away and use in your other card magic. Just great that Penguin giving away these little bits for free within the trick. Eric also teaches a couple of false shuffles if you want to sort of keep the stack under control with a riffle or an in the hands Jose triple cut, which is again just really, really useful stuff to know and have in your arsenal. I don't think any of that is particularly necessary for this trick because the selections are so clean. Only one of the selection needs to be forced. The rest are actually very fair. And Eric gives tips on having them selected in different ways so that there's no, it doesn't feel too odd to have the one forced at the start. And the routine just plays out really, really well. The fact that the final revelation is done by the spectator, that they are they're freely cutting the cards and they're putting the jokers in themselves, really heightens the effect. And it's just really nice and really clever. There is a little bit of a reset, but once you know where the cards got to go, which isn't very hard to remember, it's probably, you can reset it within a few seconds. And then it's ready to go straight out of the box. I've really, really liked this as a trick, as a routine. It's lovely that it involves 3 participants. That's really useful when you're around the table. It gets them all chatting. And another little thing that I've just almost forgot is that at the end of this tutorial, there's a little quick refresher. So if you haven't performed this, for a while, you can just skip towards the end of the tutorial, slipped around the 30-minute mark. And Eric just runs through quick look, this is how it's set up and this is how it's done in a nice few minutes, which is a very good idea. Do wish there were chapters within the tutorial so you could sort of click straight through. But other than that, it is really, really good. And like I said, these gimmicks can be added to, it comes with the deck, obviously, which matches the gimmicks, but you will be able to create your own gimmicks afterwards if you want to. Eric runs through that. So if you've got a particular deck, you can change the gimmicks to match that deck or add them into any other deck that you want. Try Sandwich. It's great and it's $17.99. Whilst I'm talking about Eric, let me just mention that Ultra Lucky Coin is back in stock. It is a super duper routine, probably one of the best in the genre of the Lucky Coin. Check out the trailer. If you want me to review it, just put something in the comments and I'll probably go out and perform it and do a nice in-depth review if that's what you want. But otherwise, check out the trailer. And now, in the hot seat. It's To the Point by Mark Lemon. Yes, you get 2 of these books, which is why I've got 2. I haven't picked up 2 of the trick. To the Point is a version of the tossed out deck, but instead of using the deck of cards, and let's face it, why do you need to use a deck of cards for the tossed out deck? It's so unlike a card trick that now I've thought about it, it seems very odd to be using a deck of cards. Paul Morton obviously changed it in a very similar fashion to this with his Paul's Balls, which is another great little thing to get. These are genuine books. Well, this isn't a genuine book, but it's based on a genuine book that I think they are called, Point to It or Point. They've all got Point in the title, and they are genuinely for travelers. So if you're looking to buy something or whatever, you can simply point to it. So if you wanted to buy beer, you flip through and buy beer. If you wanted to see some penguins, you'd point to penguins. If you wanted a glass of wine, you'd point to the wine. So you can see these books about, obviously, usually at airports and in travel shops and so on. So that is really, really nice that people may well have seen these. If not, you can easily, I'm not going to say justify, but explain what the prop is so it doesn't feel like it's been created just for the trick. The reason you get 2 is because one is gimmicked and one isn't. So if you really feel the need, I wouldn't probably wouldn't bother necessarily if it was on a stage, but perhaps if you do the close-up version, Mark does teach two versions. You might want to have it examined first, but really it works in a very similar way to the David Hoy tossed out deck. So if you're not familiar with the David Hoy tossed out deck, what happens is, well, it's normally done with a deck of cards, but in this case it's done with the book. The book is thrown out into the audience, and whoever catches it is asked to stand up and to look at one of the pages in the book and to remember one of the pictures in the book. They then toss it to someone else who stands up and looks at a picture. That's tossed to someone else who stands up and looks at a picture, until you've got 5 people standing up and they're all looking or thinking of a picture from this book. And you then go into your mind reading and you name the 5 objects or 5 pictures, and they also, if their picture's been named or their object's been named, they sit down. It is a great effect. There have been so many versions of it over the years. Everyone's trying to improve it. More often than not, it's making the deck of cards safer in some way or examinable in some way. And I really think that this is possibly the way to go, because it's a mentalism effect. It's nicer to have someone thinking of an image or of an object or a picture than it is to have them thinking of a playing card. To me, this is actually sort of slightly more logical. And also the objects, because it's objects, with playing cards obviously there's just 1 to 52. With objects, you get a sense that it could be any object within the world, which is obviously billions. The tutorial is Mark himself along with Sylar, the magician, and it's quite a chatty tutorial where they run through the ideas and explain how the books work. Basically, the stage routine and the close-up version. The close-up version is actually surprisingly powerful because you can really nail it into exactly which picture they're thinking about. So the book is actually cleverly constructed, where the pictures are and what the pictures are of, and the style of the picture, shall we say, helps you really narrow it down. So even if there's a little bit of fishing, you always turn each question into a hit, which is really, really nice. Mark also runs through, with the help of Sylar, how to make the routine more powerful, maybe by having a miss or having one person left standing up, so that you can really nail it and make sure that you get their exact picture, which just really adds to the routine. It's a great idea. It's really well made. I'm surprised there hasn't been more fuss over this. I really like it. I think it's one of the best tossed out deck ideas for a very, very long time. Well done, Mark. I'm not sure how much it is. I'll have to find out later and put it here. And sticking with Illusionist, it's the business card Fire Wallet by Adam Wilber. This isn't new by any means, but it's new to Monster Magic, so I thought I'd show it to you. And it's basically producing your business card from your wallet on fire. So the Fire Wallet, but with a purpose, if that makes sense. The wallet itself is pretty good, pretty clever. So here, this is the actual wallet. This is the inside of the wallet. This is very soft, much softer than I thought, but that's where you're going to keep your genuine business cards. You don't put anything that's going to be lit in here, but you do want to put something in it to keep it a little more stable. It is a arc ignition. It's electronic. You have to charge it up and you get an arc rather than a flint. This is very, very reliable as long as you remember to charge it up. And the button's in a great place, and it works a treat. Adam's teaching of it and his tips are brilliant on the tutorial, and he runs through really everything you need to know. What you are going to have to do with this is, well, not with this, with your business cards, is practice how long you soak them for in lighter fluid. So depending obviously on the lamination of the cards, the thickness of the cardstock, what they're made out of, you have to soak them, and you want them to sort of soak up about halfway. So you're going to have to practice that. You don't want too much on them, or you're going to end up with this big fireball and you'll be thrown out of the event. You need just the right amount. So get your stopwatch on your phone, dip a bin, soak them up, and test them. And once you know, you'll know, and you won't have to keep doing that. It's not limited to business cards. You can do it with anything, essentially, I suppose, from from dollar bills to Adam does it with dollar bills. I haven't tried it with our silly little plastic notes, but I'm guessing you can get some lighter fluid on them as well somehow. But you can let your imagination run wild. You can store about 5 ready to go business card wise. So it is quite limited in that factor. So once you've used those 5, you're going to have to go back and get some more to put in. Unless you're going to carry around the pot and the lighter fluid to reset more, you're limited really to how many times you can do it in one night. But it's the ideal thing to take if you know you're going to be handing out a business card, or you think there might be a chance that you're going to hand out a business card. This is a super way to do it. Adam teaches ways of sort of almost coaxing people into asking for your business card, so you get to do it, which is fun. But for me, I would have it all ready to go, and just on the off chance that someone asks me. It's quite a lot of money. It's for nowadays you can get a fire wallet for around the £30 mark. This is twice as much really, but it does have a purpose. That the file wallet is only sort of a quick gag. One little thing you can do also that Adam suggests is that you can use it for your final card reveals. So if you forced a card, you can have one of the cards set up in here ready to go, so you can use it as a card reveal as well. And I guess bringing out a card on fire, blowing it out and saying, is that your card, is a very nice thing. It's by no means an essential product to own, but if you want a chance to add a little bit of fire, a little bit of over-the-top excitement to a card routine, or to just handing out your business cards, then it's perfect. And now we have Touch by Paul Curry and Penguin Magic, and I guess Nick Locapo. I wasn't going to talk very much about this. It came in, it's not new from Penguin or anything like that, but I watched the tutorial that Nick does, and I was amazed. So if you don't know Touch by Paul Curry, it is in his book Worlds Beyond, which is an incredible book to get. And funny enough, as I was flipping through this last night, I found my old receipt that lets me know that I bought this in November 2001 from International Magic. So Martin, Barry, if you're watching, thanks very much. The original Paul Curry routine is very easy to do. You take out a playing card and you ask someone to think of a card, and you write what you think they're going to, what card they are thinking of on that card, put it face down, then take up another card, ask another spectator to think of a card, and you write on that card what card do you think they're thinking of. You then spread the deck face up, they pick out which cards they were thinking of, and you reveal that on the face of the cards you've written their matching cards. I hope that makes sense. There is a downside in Paul Curry's routine these days, because the type of deck that you need, unfortunately, now doesn't contain all 52 cards. I'm guessing it probably did in Paul's day. So there is a chance that you can end up with, sort of, 2 8 of spades showing up, or 2 ace of hearts showing up during the routine. What Nick and Penguin have done is created their own deck that gets around this. So there's no chance of double cards turning up. And the deck you get in this is lovely and is ideal. You will be writing on this deck, so make sure you watch the whole tutorial. Nick makes it perfectly clear to watch all of the routines and all of the tutorials, so you can decide exactly how and where to write on the cards, and you get it right first time. He does a routine with just one person first of all, and then he does a routine with 2 people. And it is Paul Curry's touch, essentially. It is a terrific trick. In fact, in the book Worlds Beyond, Paul says it's such a strong trick that it should be done at the end. It is a closer. It is the climax to your routine. In the book, he also teaches the idea that what you can't do with, say, the predictions, the new Roddy McGee trick, is that you do a simple trick with a genuine pack of cards to start off with. There is an example of an ideal trick you can do with it in the book, which I highly recommend getting, and switching the decks out so that there's no heat on the deck at all. So yeah, a simple deck switch will add a lot of power to this. The tutorial is over an hour long as Nick Locapo runs through how to sort the Sharpie out so that you can fake writing with it, which is full of great tips that I hadn't thought of. He runs through the new routines that he's got with it and why this deck is different to the original Paul Curry method. He runs through the actual Paul Curry original trick. It is just very, very nice. It is a whole complete package, and for the £20 mark, it is incredible. You do get a brilliant trick. Like I say, Paul Curry suggests it was always a closer. Well worth checking out. I almost forgot, but one of the nice things on this is that Nick teaches a parlor version with wine glasses and a little spinning turntable or Lazy Susan type thing that is discrepant, but it's a great idea for bringing touch into a parlor / stage performance, and I really, really like it. And for me, that I am gonna be performing touch like this very soon. And now it's time for The Big Blind by John Morton. John Morton is a very, very busy magician, and the tricks that he comes up with are usually very simple in principle, very simple in method, but fun, easy to do, and powerful, and pack a punch. That's what you want them to do. And I don't think The Big Blind's any different. You won't be blown away by the method of this trick, and I think the real joy in performing this is the journey that you go on with the spectator, with your participant. So let me just show you what you get. So you get the props, you get these cards that have all got different colors on. Those are the backs. So they're not bicycle cards or anything like that. They're just simply cards with a block of color, and you get 5 matching poker chips. The routine is that you put the cards down, just 5 of the cards, 1 of each color, down on the table, and you ask the spectator, to your participant, to put a color poker chip on each of the cards that you think it would match. So obviously put the red one on the red card, the green one on the card that they think is green, and then you see if they've got them right or wrong. Now the chances are that they're not going to get them all right, and you can tell them the odds if you really want to. You then say, well, I couldn't do it either, but if you know what they are, I can read your mind and I'll get it right. So you lay them out again. The participant puts colour poker chips next to each card, but he can lie, so he can deliberately try and catch you out. You then put your set of cards down. That's why there are 10 cards. There's 2 sets of 5, and show that you knew when he was lying, when he wasn't lying, and your cards match the poker chips. It's just a simple, fun routine that plays out. You can get, it's a good few minutes of joy from performing this. Like I say, the method is what it is. It's not going to blow you away. It's a simple, clear routine, and what you really need to do, I feel, is to get that little bit of, I think you're lying, a little backwards and forwards with your participant will make this routine so much more fun. It's well made. It's well made. The props are great. So these cards are very nice. They've got a little plastic coating on, so you put, if you're performing this where there are drinks lying around, shouldn't have to worry too much. And the chips, they do feel like they've got quite a nice weight to them, sort of clay chips. It's fun, easy to do, a jovial sort of mind-reading, lie-testing routine for a bargain price. And finally, we have Arm by Obie O'Brien and Joe Riding. Joe Riding was an incredible British magician. I think he was an ex-boxer before he became a magician, and he was really there. He was probably initiated the commercial close-up magic back in the 70s and the 80s, and he really knew a good entertaining trick when he saw them. And if you ever get a chance to read any of his work or see any of his tricks, you'll know that he is Mr. Commercial, and this is exactly one of those tricks. I think his other most famous trick was the Irish 3-card Monty, or the 3-card trick done with 4 cards that later became Sidewalk Shuffle. But this is very similar. This is probably like the precursor to Matthew Garrett's stand-up Monty. It's easier than doing stand-up Monty. There's less sort of going backwards and forwards to your pocket, remembering which cards you've got where. It's much easier than that, and in fact, it's virtually slightless. There is an Elmsley count in it, but this is a very good reason to learn the Elmsley count. There's lots and lots of good reasons to learn the Elmsley count, so please don't let that put you off.
This is an observation test that's used as an entrance exam into blackjack school. Where they teach you how to do card counting and advantage play. It's a very simple test. It uses 2 blackjack hands, Jack of Hearts, Ace of Clubs, Jack of Hearts, Ace of Clubs. And the idea is for you to keep track of these cards, and I'll be asking you some simple questions. So if I place this card over here and then try to misdirect you, then ask you a simple question: what was that card? What would you say? The Ace of Clubs. And you would be right, the Ace of Clubs. But this is the easiest part of the test. Everybody gets this right. It gets much more difficult now. So this is your blackjack hand. I'm going to leave your blackjack hand right over here. And this is my blackjack hand. If I ask you what I have in my hand, what would you say? Blackjack. What are the cards? Ace Jack. But I really don't have Ace Jack. I actually have Jack Jack, and the 2 aces are now in your hand. I know I caught you off guard. I'll do this again. I'll do it a little slower. This is your blackjack hand. This is my blackjack hand. If I ask you what I have in my hand, what would you say? Blackjack? But some people would say I have a jack and an ace. Other people would say I have an ace and a jack. Some people would say I have a red card and a black card. It gets confusing, so I'll try to make this as simple as possible for you. I'll only use the 2 jacks. So if I have the 2 jacks over here, what do I have over here? 2 aces, right? Well, not really, because you weren't paying that close of attention. You see, I actually have another jack. 3 jacks and an ace. Is this even possible? Let's try this again. Look, this is your blackjack hand. I'm going to leave it right over here. These are my 2 jacks. So if I have 2 jacks here, what do you have? A blackjack. Well, I'll tell you what. I actually have 3 jacks now. You have 1 ace. If I ask you what I have in my hand, what would you say? 3 jacks? Are you sure? Because we started with 2 aces. But no, you're right, because I actually do have 1, 2, 3 jacks. But let's do this again. This is your blackjack hand. These are my 2 jacks. Now watch carefully. This is the single most difficult part. I have 2 jacks. I'm going to take 1 away. That gives me 3 jacks. What do I have over here? An ace? No, you see, I actually never ever had any aces. The entire time we were using 4 jacks.
The patter isn't the most fantastic. It's a lot of so if I've got an ace and a jack, what's on the table? No, I've got the 2 jacks, what's on the table? Stuff like that. So obviously the spectator is usually wrong. Don't know that worry. Didn't bother Joe, and Joe could entertain boozer full of people, no problem whatsoever, without upsetting a soul. So don't let that put you off. The actual cards are much bigger than standard poker size, and they've got this sort of plastic lamination on them, which is really nice because it keeps them nice and firm and stops any moisture if you ever put them down. Because you are putting these down on the table, it'll stop them getting too dirty or suffering from a little bit of damp. And also, perhaps if you want to do it on a parlor size arena, they are great props. Great teaching. Like I say, it's a simple, easy trick that's fun to perform for friends, family, or in walk around. Really, no real reset. And that's it for this week. I know, but you've got the rest of your weekend ahead. Like I say, it's going to be a scorcher. The sun's out. guns out. Finish that cup of tea, get dressed, and go and have some fun. And I shall see you next week. Bye bye.